Na 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 na. Hey YouTube, welcome back to another exciting episode of Vin Plays Fantasy Football. This is the Week 3 recap show. We're going to be going over our matchup and a little bit of the waiver situation we have coming into Week 4. So let's get into it. Right now, we are victorious, as you can see up top. We defeated Booyah, my buddy here, Booyah. First name is Chris. Yeah, we defeated him pretty early actually. I did end up starting Marquise Brown for yesterday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He, as you can see, he didn't really do much of anything. But the thing is, I didn't really need him. I was up by 7 points anyways before the start of the game, so I really didn't need any points from him yesterday, which is good because apparently, because Kansas City dominated that game. They destroyed Baltimore, which was super surprising, particularly since Baltimore was the Ravens were at home as well. But yeah, they got stomped pretty bad. But let's go ahead and go down the list. We're actually really lucky to win this week because Russell Wilson went off. I watched this game, Dallas and Seattle. There was no defense being played whatsoever. Russell Wilson exploded. Let's look at his stat line real quick. Russell Wilson had 315 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, we are so lucky that we survived Russell Wilson's output here. 46 points, just under 47 points. That is insane. From facing Dak Prescott last week to facing Russell Wilson this week, yeah, it's been rough on us in the quarterback position, from the quarterback position, I should say. But yeah, we're lucky to survive Russell Wilson this week, and I think that's mostly because of our defense. We started the Indianapolis defense, who scored 2 touchdowns of their own. So yeah, play your defenses against New Jersey, guys, because New Jersey is a hot freaking mess. I'm actually thinking about streaming whoever they're playing, or whoever's playing against them this week for Week 4, and I believe that's Denver. They are a hot mess on offense as well. On Roto World, I believe Jeff Driscoll, the backup quarterback that's filling in for Drew Lock on Denver, was pulled from the game. So their offense, because of bad play, that is, he wasn't injured or anything. So that offense is in real disarray as well. I'm considering picking up the Jets defense to go against the Denver offense. But we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the waivers. Going down our line, Aaron Rodgers performed yet again. I'm really starting to believe in him. Well, I've always believed in him, but I'm really starting to believe in his weapons here. He really seems to be trusting Allen Lazard, and there was even some throws to Valdez-Scantling. He dropped a couple of passes, but he is still throwing to them. So I think the trust is really starting to build here. I really think that I could start just weekly starting, just leaving Aaron Rodgers in there as my starter, especially this week, because this week he will be playing against Atlanta. And so yeah, Atlanta has always been a shootout this year, spanning back to last year as well. So every quarterbacks do well against Atlanta, so we're definitely starting Aaron Rodgers here. Robert Woods performed really well. I watched this game as well. He had this funky touchdown where he was lucky to shed 1 tackle, and then he was more or less able to walk it in from about 20 yards, I believe, 20 yards out for the touchdown. So yeah, Robert Woods is going to be stuck in our lineup as well. Allen Robinson really performed too. I watched the tail end of this game. Mitch Trubisky was benched. So Nick Foles is going to be the starter Well, I think he's going to be the starter moving on, and I believe he'll be better for Allen Robinson and also David Montgomery, the guy we traded to get Allen Robinson. The thing with David Montgomery now is I'm not sure if this will bite me in the butt for trading him, but Tariq Cohen was also injured. They fear that he tore his ACL, so he's likely going to be out for the rest of the year, which means that David Montgomery is going to get significantly more work in the passing game. With Tariq Cohen gone and him getting the passing down work, along with the 15 to 20 touches he gets on the ground anyways, Montgomery could be a real good value. He's probably going to be good going forward just based on workload alone. But I also feel that Allen Robinson is a top 15, maybe even a top 12 wide receiver. So it's still a pretty even trade as far as things go. But the thing is, I bring up David Montgomery because Chris Carson got hurt. So, for the short term, well, thankfully his injury doesn't seem like it's serious. I read news this morning that said that his coach, Pete Carroll, said that there's a chance that he's back this week. But he actually heard it on a very dirty play. He was already tackled and somebody rolled up on his leg and intentionally twisted his leg and knee, and it ended up spraining his knee. I also read on Twitter, the guy that did it, the guy that twisted his knee, I forget his name, but the guy who twisted his knee is probably going to be fined but not suspended. But considering the circumstances of the injury, I'm thankful that it doesn't seem to be as serious as it initially appeared to be. Josh Jacobs got stuffed by New England. He did put up some points. He got all the workloads, so the fundamentals are still there. He still got 18 carries despite his janky hip, because he's working through a hip injury right now. The big question mark is Chris Carson. If he does miss a week, our depth at running back is kind of thin right now. Hopefully Raheem Mostert comes back. If Raheem Mostert comes back, we're totally good. We're totally in the green. We're gravy. Although Philadelphia isn't the best matchup. Otherwise, the only other guy we got is Antonio Gibson, which normally I wouldn't mind starting him, but this week, for week 4, he is playing against the Baltimore defense, which is one of the top 3 defenses in the league. Well, actually, probably top 2 defenses now with the Steelers, since San Francisco lost all their players to injury. But it's starting to look a little bit dicey for week 4 when it comes to our running backs. With all our running back depth we started out with, it's ironic that we're starting to get a little thin at running back here. Jonnu Smith, I believe he caught a touchdown, but he is getting the work. And you know what? I'm 100% fine with starting Jonnu Smith. Although during week 4 he is against Pittsburgh. But as long as AJ Brown isn't playing, then Jonnu Smith, I'm 100% confident with starting Jonnu Smith. Although this week, since he's against Pittsburgh, and just because we have the depth at that position, we do have Mike Gesicki. We might actually be starting Mike Gesicki because he's playing Seattle. Yeah, Seattle plays no defense this year. So, we will probably be swapping Mike Gesicki for Jonnu Smith this week just because we have the depth. But otherwise, I'd be perfectly fine starting Jonnu Smith. This week against Pittsburgh, I just have tempered expectations. Marquise Brown didn't do much, but we didn't need him to do much. So watching this game, Kansas City just totally dominated the Ravens. So Kansas City is scary good right now. And you know what? I'm a believer in their defense now. I thought their defense was pretty mediocre coming into the year. They look really good. They have a solid defense. So I'd have to think twice about I'd have to think about my options when it comes to flex play anyways. The players that are playing against the Chiefs. So that the Chiefs defense will be a consideration going forward now. Mason Crosby, Mason Crosby did what Mason Crosby does, and we already discussed Indianapolis. So although Mason Crosby with Aaron Rodgers rolling on like he seems to be rolling, and that offense, Green Bay offense, does look good with Aaron Jones, and hopefully Davante Adams comes back this week. And yeah, with the Davante Adams healthy, our wide receivers core is going to be scary with Allen Robinson and Robert Woods. Those guys will probably be plugged into my flex, like Robert Woods in my flex and Adams and Robinson at my wide receivers. Those will probably be plugged in every week going forward. Minshew Mania. Minshew, I was seriously considering starting him over Aaron Rodgers, but Minshew Mania was a complete bust. I think mostly because DJ Chark was a surprise non-play. He did not play. He is injured right now. I think I might hold on to Gardner Minshew. Sorry about that. My recording got cut off by a phone call. But to continue my thought, we might keep Gardner Minshew. He does have good matchups coming forward, and if DJ Chark is healthy and is in the lineup, I am not too uncomfortable starting him. I think he'll have the opportunity and all his weapons, and will be able to perform relatively well, particularly against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's one of the worst defenses in the league right now. Houston isn't all that great, and Detroit is also pretty bad on defense. I think that pretty much wraps up the matchup review here. Let's go ahead and go to my team, and let's go over some of our waiver transactions or waiver claims that we put in. Right now, I put in a $0 bid for the LA Rams because I talked about this a little bit in my last video. I ended up, I had them out for a minute. I was holding the Rams and the Colts at the same time. I had them both on my team, but I ended up dropping the Rams for a speculative grab. I think it was N'Keal Harry, either N'Keal Harry or Tony Pollard. But yeah, right now the Rams are playing for week 4. That is, the Rams will be playing the New York Giants, so that's a good matchup that I'd like to take advantage of. Indianapolis, I believe, is playing Chicago, which isn't too bad. So we're not super hurting for a defense, but yeah, we would prefer the Rams. I might put in $1 to fab bid on them. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think it's entirely necessary though, as far as the need for a good defense, that is. But I also put in a claim for Justin. I believe it's Justin Jefferson. I forget his first name. So, sorry, I'm really bad with names. But Jefferson, he exploded. He's on Minnesota. It looks like he's taking over that second receiver spot in the place of Stephon Diggs. So Adam Thielen is the number 1, and it looks like Jefferson is going to be the number 2. I think he had 2 touchdowns during this game. So, and N'Keal Harry kind of underperformed, and the New England Patriots, their schedule doesn't look great for Harry, so I don't think there's any need to hold on to him for now. He probably is the number 2 on that team, but I don't know if the opportunities are going to present themselves for him. And judging from last game, there's no real urgency to have him on our team. The same thing with Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk is pretty similar to Jefferson. He did well. He's the number 1 on that team, at least so long as Deebo Samuel is still out. So I'd prefer to have him over N'Keal Harry on my squad as well. Brian Hill is actually a kind of speculative ad. I've been reading reports that say that he looked better than Todd Gurley on the Falcons. So if he is the better back on the Falcons, and with Todd Gurley's injury history, it's like there's multiple possibilities. There's a couple of possibilities here. There's a possibility that the coaching staff just kind of recognizes that Hill is the better player and starts playing him more. Or with Todd Gurley's injury history, it's sad to say it, he is kind of injury prone. So if he does get injured and is going to be missing a few games, then it would behoove us to have Brian Hill. They do pass a lot, and that offense is very high powered. And then last but not least, I do have a claim in for Jared Goff, to get Jared Goff back onto our squad. I probably trust Goff a little bit more than Minshew at this moment. Goff has had 2 solid games, and yeah, he has all his weapons intact. Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee is back and healthy, or not Tyler Higbee, the other Gerald Everett, I believe, was the guy who was injured for a second, and he's shown to be relatively healthy. So yeah, Cooper Kupp's still on the team, and yeah, he's on par with Gardner Minshew. It's just his team is more intact, and he has all of his weapons at his disposal, and his schedule. It doesn't look as good as Minshew's, but it doesn't look bad. So I think I'd prefer to have Goff over Minshew at this moment, anyways. And right now, I'm not considering Rodgers as a streamer. I'm just kind of looking to fill his Week 5 bye. I believe it's Week 5. So the week after this week, he will not be playing. So we'll have to fill in a spot for him right now, or for next week. But that's pretty much it. So it concludes this episode of Vin Plays Fantasy Football. This is the Week 3 recap, and I'll see you next time.